Yo, what's up? We're back, and we're going to be doing the Dana White Contender Series 2020 Week 5 breakdown. We did pretty good last week on the Dana White Contender Series. We went 4-1, hit the plays that I gave out, so make sure to be on the lookout for that Odds HQ video as well with the bets and the plays that I give out. All sometimes they have props, sometimes they don't, but I always give a pretty good detailed breakdown over there as well, more betting wise. But we're just going to get right into the predictions here for the card. The first fight, Tucker Lutz taking on Chase Gibson. This fight is a short notice fight for Chase Gibson. I think Lutz had a different opponent, I think like Victor Martinez or something like that. But Lutz and Gibson, they're fighting at 155. Lutz is 9-1, coming out of Maryland. And looking at his record, I mean, he hasn't beaten anyone with a great resume. Never fought outside of Maryland either, so this is going to be the first time fighting outside of that state. And his opponent, Chase Gibson, coming out of California, really a downright terrible competition level. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, and the 3 opponents he's defeated were 0-2, 0-1, and 0-19. So, yeah, and Gibson has fought in some bigger promotions, such as Combate Americas. He fought in King of the Cage, but lost in the majority of those fights where he fought in those organizations. And he's also a natural featherweight. I'm just not really impressed with Chase Gibson. He does look like he has a good straight and overhand right. He shoots it fast, looks like it has power. He will throw some kicks, and he has some kick knockouts, some spinning kick knockouts, but his kicks are really telegraphed. He throws naked kicks at times. I've seen him get taken down off the same low kick in the same fight like 10 times. He really has virtually no takedown defense. His get-up game is not good either. I have seen him level change and hit some double legs, and being on top is probably where he's the best. He does have, a decent back take. He has 2 rear naked chokes, and, good ground and pound on top when he can posture up, but really doesn't have great wrestling. He struggles to get it to the ground even against low-level opponents. He has finished 7 of his 9 wins, so he is a dangerous guy if he can hit you or if he can, land clean. In decisions, he's 2-3. Definitely slows down after the first round, and I just don't rate him as a very good fighter at all. Tucker Lutz, I mean, he looked like a way better fighter. He's a boxer wrestler, better athlete, good forward pressure, good double legs against the fence. He throws heavy ground and pound. He does make mistakes leaving his arms on the mat when he's inside fighters' guards. He needs to be, a little bit better with his defense, shore that up a little bit. But he's outside of a fluke knockout. I don't see him losing this fight, though. I mean, I didn't get to see a lot of his recent fights, but he just looked, even in the fights that I saw from like 4 or 5 years ago, he would beat the version of Chase Gibson that I saw in, 2019, 2020. So I think he should definitely get the win here. I think he's the much better fighter everywhere. He should get the takedown and smash his way to a ground and pound finish, submission, decision. I mean, he should win by any way that he wants here. Next, we got an interesting fight here with William Knight making his return to the Contender Series. He's taking on Cody Brundage. And 2 big boys, 2 light heavyweights. William Knight, 7-1 overall, 7 finishes. He has a couple impressive wins as well on his resume. And he does have a win on the Contender Series over Herdim Al-Kametic or something like that, who was 5-0 and was a pretty good fighter. He has also defeated Jorgen De Castro and Matthew Semmelsberger, who are in the UFC. And Cody Brundage, he's undefeated. He's 5-0, but he hasn't faced anyone of note really. And he's a smaller guy. He weighed in at 195 for his last fight. He's fought at 185. He's fought at 190. A lot of catchweight bouts for him. And he's only fought at light heavyweight 1 time in his career. Whereas William Knight is a gigantic, huge, muscled up light heavyweight. Kind of reminds me of Alonzo Menafield with his frame and his size. And, he has fought 220. He's fought at heavyweight. So he's going to be probably a lot heavier in the cage. But he is a shorter guy, whereas Cody Brundage is going to have probably a little bit of a height and reach advantage. And when you talk about the fight, I mean, on the feet, both these guys are a little bit green. I think William Knight is the way better athlete. He hits a lot harder. And even though his defense is not good at all, I mean, he gets hit coming in with a lot of shots. He holds his hands low. He can, load up with shots in the pocket and get, countered with tighter, straighter, faster punches. But he could take shots and keep coming forward. The one loss he had, I watched that fight, and the stoppage was super premature. I mean, I thought it was a terrible stoppage. He did get dropped and hurt, but I thought the guy stopped it way too early. And Knight, he can knock you out like we saw in his last fight. But really, both these guys are grapplers, Brundage and Knight. Knight, it's weird. It's like his defensive grappling isn't very good. He'll let guys take him down, get into dominant positions, take his back, flatten him out. But he has kind of like that Derek Lewis thing going on, where he's just so big and so physically strong that when he wants to get up, he just stands up. He'll just get out of these bad positions, and he's done it against guys that are legit like Herdim. So it's interesting, kind of a weird style, but he for being such a big guy like that as well, he has good cardio, and he can just carry it and get out of these bad positions, scramble, and when his opponents think they're going to have him, like when they take his back, flatten him out, when they mount him and they let go of some shots and he survives, they get tired, then he gets a takedown, gets on top, and finishes the show quickly, man. When William Knight gets on top of you, you're in trouble. He'll land some big ground and pound, takes guys out viciously with shots. He has all knockout victories. And Brundage on top, he does look like he has a nice arm triangle. I have seen him take the back, control, but doesn't look like he's a submission specialist or anything. And on the feet, I think he's a little bit slower, a little bit stiffer, even though maybe he might be more technical than Knight. To beat Knight, man, I think you either, Knight, like I said, he's a little bit hittable, and these are big guys, so anything could happen. He could get clipped coming in or something. But other than that, I just feel like he's gonna only lose to guys that are very, very elite strikers that can, angle off, circle, control the cage, not let him get inside and just beat him down, or real good wrestler, jiu-jitsu guys that can exploit the mistakes he makes on the mat and submit him. Whereas I think Brundage is more of an all-rounder, not really great at anything, pretty decent at everything, and not on the athleticism level of William Knight. So I think Knight's going to get him out of there by knockout at one point in the fight. I just think that on the feet he's going to either drop him and pound him out, or get a takedown and finish him on top. So I got William Knight here inside the distance. And up next in this one, we have a really fun fight. We got Jose Johnson taking on Ronnie Lawrence. 135 pounders here. Johnson, he's younger, he's 25, but he's had a lot more pro fights. He's 11-5 as a pro. And Johnson, he's one of the most experienced guys I've ever seen come on the Contender Series, and he has one of the most experienced amateur records I've ever seen for MMA, period. He has a record of 68 wins, 12 losses as an amateur, so he's been fighting since he was, I think, 17 years old as an amateur. Almost 100 fights, man. So extremely, extremely experienced. Ronnie Lawrence, he's 28, but only 5-1 overall. And for Jose Johnson, he's won 5 in a row. His last 2 came against solid competition. All 5 of those wins are first-round knockouts. Ronnie Lawrence, he does have his lone loss to in Bellator to UFC fighter Steve Garcia. But other than that, he really hasn't fought any notable names. Johnson, he's going to be the much bigger guy. He's 6 feet tall, one of the biggest bantamweights I've ever seen, and he's extremely athletic. He's a physical freak, very loose, has great movement. He switches stances. He walks guys down, makes the cage very small, stays at range, and his size gives him a huge advantage. His reach, he throws nasty straight punches down the middle, really nice front round kicks to the body, very fast. He cuts angles well. He, has huge power. You could tell when these guys get hit by Johnson, man, they shoot in on the legs real quick. And he used to have trouble with grapplers. He still does. I would say wrestling is his weak point. But he's super dangerous inside with elbows, with knees. His elbows are vicious, man. He throws slicing elbows, cuts guys open. His last win, he landed one elbow that put his opponent out cold brutally. If you haven't seen that knockout, check it out, man. That's one of the most brutal knockouts of the year. Like I said, his issue has been grappling throughout his career, guys get him against the fence, take him down. But, you know, he's super dangerous in the clinch, like I said. He doesn't wrestle offensively, but he uses his height, his instincts, his athleticism well and scrambles to work his way back to his feet. His get-ups is really good. He's hard to control. His cardio is very good. And I have seen him give his back a couple times to try to stand up. But he looks to have good 2-on-1 defense, good defense from the back. He's probably not going to get submitted. And he's really improved as a fighter. I kind of really like him overall as a prospect. And Ronnie Lawrence, he's a fun style to watch him stealth. He stands tall, so he's light on his feet, darts in and out, and most specifically, he throws a lot of kicks. He throws some nice straight punches, body head. He will feint to try to hide the target, but you know, he comes in with big looping uppercuts. Really isn't a great boxer though. Doesn't throw his hands, and he throws heavy low kicks, really nasty front kicks, round kicks to the body, really good spinning kicks. He'll switch stances. He can kick with both legs. He has nice flying knees. His defense on the feet isn't the greatest. He stands tall, like I said, so he can get hit. He can throw kicks at times with his chin in the air. And he seems to get into the fight as the fight goes on. So the first round he gets hit a lot. He's a fun fighter to watch, though. He throws a lot of interesting techniques and combinations. You know, he'll end combinations with spinning attacks. Really good takedown defense, clinch work as well. He'll grab the plum, throw knees, elbows. But in the clinch in this one, I think he's going to be at a huge disadvantage. He does have good double legs, which I feel like he's going to need to try to time double legs, get on top, control. Both these guys are good strikers, but man, I just feel like Johnson is just too strong. I feel like he's too dynamic, too fast, too good of distance control. Both these guys are kickers, and one guy is just, I believe, the better kicker and bigger. So he's going to have the range and the speed advantage. I've seen him enter range and float his chin at times, but he's durable. I've seen him fight much bigger guys than Lawrence. I just think Johnson is a superior fighter, superior athlete, the bigger guy. I don't think Ronnie Lawrence has the grappling to really exploit that part of Johnson's game, which I feel like is not really that weak overall anyways. So both guys are solid, but I think Johnson is going to get a finish here. So I got Jose Johnson to get the win. Next year we got a really good fight. Jimmy Flick, Nate Smith. They're in the flyweight division. Jimmy Flick, he's the veteran in this matchup. He's 4 years older than Smith, more than double the pro fight experience. He's 29, 14-5. Smith, he's only 6-0, 25 years old. And Nate Smith does have 20 amateur fights though, so does have a lot of experience in the octagon. Jimmy Flick, he's been testing himself for years now against solid competition. He's fought, he's defeated UFC veterans, he's gotten the LFA flyweight belt. So, I mean, he's definitely experienced. In his last fight, he was able to get the flyweight title for LFA. He defeated a 10-1 opponent in the first round, so it was a great win for him. And he's a pure grappler. He's a tough dude. On the feet, he isn't the best. He doesn't really throw much, but he will throw kicks and jabs. He'll throw leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks. He will use his hands mainly to just distract you to get the takedown. And sometimes he could shell up, stand in place, eat shots. His defense is not very good on the feet, but he is a tough guy and kind of just finds his opening to get it to the ground. But we have seen him put to sleep before. In 4 of his 5 losses, he's lost by knockout. Doesn't check low kicks. That's how he lost his fight with Chris Gutierrez. But he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He has good wrestling. And when he gets on top, he's super aggressive. Great passing ability. Keeps really heavy top pressure. Real good arm triangles, shoulder chokes. You know, he was extremely pumped up after his last submission. He was screaming for Dana White to give him a chance. Ton of motivation coming in here. He has 12 submissions. And he's a finisher, man. He's only been in a decision 3 times in 19 fights. He's been a pro for 10 years now. So he's definitely a grizzled veteran. He should be ready for this moment. And he's going to need to use all of his experience to defeat a guy like Nate Smith. Nate Smith coming out of Team Elevation, 6-0. Hasn't faced really great competition though. The best fighter he's defeated was Jeff Molina, who was on the Contender Series last week, but Molina was just 1-1 overall at that point. He also has a win over a 14-7 opponent. Nate Smith, he's more of an athlete, wrestler, not really a fighter yet. He hasn't really, put his skills all together. his striking just isn't great. He has a wide stance, decent jab, but his punches are wild. He will throw some kicks, front kicks up the middle. His hands are just very sloppy. Inside, he does throw some nice elbows, nice knees, and he could wrestle very well offensively and defensively. Good timing on his shots. He's a Greco-Roman wrestler, so he has really good body locks. On top, he's very good. He floats, he passes well. I believe he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. He likes to soften guys up with big elbows, then he'll lock in chokes. He's real good at wrist riding, just riding guys out. And this fight, man, is just two low-level guys on the feet. I think Smith is more athletic, so he's probably more dangerous on the feet. And inside, he does have a chance to land a big elbow in the clinch and maybe finish the fight. But he did get taken down a few times in his last match, and he kept jumping guillotine instead of defending the submission. He gave his back a couple times, and that was against a 2-0 fighter. He is great in scrambles. He trains at elevation, so, you know, if he can get into a scramble fest with guys, most of the time he's going to have the better cardio, and once they get tired, he can get on top, finish them off. That's how he did his last opponent in. And if this fight is a grappling fight, though, I just kind of trust the jiu-jitsu savviness, the experience of Jimmy Flick a little more than Nate Smith. Smith is a superior athlete, probably superior wrestler. He could get a knockout with the elbow. He could get the mount, finish the fight. I just think it's more likely the fighter that gets caught or grinded out here is Nate Smith. Flick is going to be the best submission artist he's faced as a pro. Smith was submitted 7 times as an amateur. Flick has never been submitted. He's never been, finished outside of knockouts on the feet. So I'm going to go with Jimmy Flick here. Not a super confident pick. I think he might be the underdog. But my pick here is going to be Jimmy Flick to either get a submission or decision victory. And finally, we got the main event here. We got Melsik Baghdasaryan taking on Dennis Bazooka. And for Dennis Bazooka, I don't know, man. I mean, he looks like a good striker on the feet. He's a tough dude also, and he's a grinder. So, I mean, in his last fight, he fought Tim Dooling, who's a decent regional scene fighter. I mean, we saw Tim Dooling push Bill Algeo, who, just had a good showing in the UFC. And, but Dennis Bazooka was able to, pick him apart on the feet. He was just walking him down. He was, getting inside, landing combinations with the hands, landing kicks, tiring Dooling out with forward pressure, and slowly just broke him, landed more volume, and won the fight, but it was close. It was competitive. And he's coming out of that Cerro Longo fight team that's been on a tear this year. I don't know if they've even lost a fight in 2020. And, they have a lot of real good grapplers, which I haven't seen Dennis Bazooka use a lot of grappling, which is what makes me nervous for this matchup with Melsik, because Melsik, he trains out of that Glendale fight camp with Edmund Shabazian, with Leon Shabazian, so he's another one of these Armenian guys coming out of California, and he's a real good kickboxer, I think he's more of a Muay Thai guy, but he's fought kickboxing matches, Muay Thai fights, and a lot of experience just in striking fights. But in MMA, man, he's fighting all real low-level guys. All his wins are coming in less than 30 seconds in the first round. He's just knocking these guys out. He does have one loss, and he was submitted, so I wasn't able to see that fight, but I do assume he's probably very weak on the mat. But, like I said, even though Dennis is training with these guys like Aljamain Sterling, like Marab, they're in the similar weight category as well. I haven't seen him really wrestle. I haven't seen him try to get takedowns in any of his fights that I've been able to watch. So, if it's on the feet, I'm just a little nervous that Melsik will be able to outclass him and get the win. But it's hard for me to pick a guy like Melsik, man, who has 4 wins, all in under 30 seconds, 1 loss. He does have a lot of kickboxing, Muay Thai experience, like I said, but he's more of a flat-footed guy. He stands in front of you, looks to counter. Both these guys have real nice counter left hooks. I've seen them both drop guys with the counter left hook. Melsik obviously is going to be the better pure striker, but if Dennis, pushes the pace, these Muay Thai fights start slow. They're kind of slow paced. If Dennis stays in his face, tries to create a lot of, boxing exchanges, because Muay Thai guys don't really have a lot of great head movement, and low kicks, try to check those, try to stay out of the clinch, and maybe even shoot in on the legs, get takedowns that way, grind against the fence, and make Melsik work, because he hasn't had a tough fight in MMA yet. So I don't know, man. It's a tough one to call. Both these guys 4-1. Both look like predominantly strikers, but Dennis obviously is going to be training with real good grapplers. Probably knows what he has to do here. Has fought in tougher fights in MMA. Fought tougher opponents. I'm going to pick Dennis Bazooka reluctantly here to get a win. Maybe he implements a grappling game plan that we haven't seen. Maybe he can just tough it out, be tougher than these guys that Melsik has been fighting earlier in his career. Last the 30 seconds, the minute, stay in his face, make it a tougher fight, make it an MMA fight, and get a win that way. So I'm going to pick Dennis to get the victory here, but this is probably my least confident pick on the card. And so there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Obviously, later on when the odds come out, check out Odds HQ. I will be talking about every fight, talking about what I think about the odds, if I'm going to pass on that fight, if I'm going to play it. I'm going to most likely give a parlay, give a most confident pick. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. I will put it in the description, in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, thanks for always supporting. I will be coming out with the UFC Vegas 9 prediction video later today or tomorrow as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.